weapon technology shaped the course of human history. Some of the most awesome designs are hundreds, even thousands of years old. But now, the most deadly weapons of all time are getting a makeover as modern technology puts a new spin on the ancient past.
Oh my.
Chad Hauschnick leads the way.
I want one, I want one. No, I want two.
One part master engineer
I think I can do that.
and 2 parts mad scientist. He'll get a helping hand from Mike Lowe's, a man who knows a thing or two about history.
This is the world's first flamethrower. Wow.
And what gives these weapons their edge. This week, they bring the dreaded Roman Scorpion blazing into the modern era.
Can you build a more powerful, more efficient, more maneuverable? Can you build a better Roman Scorpion? Yes.
So, this week, Mike's got me building a Roman Scorpion. It was essentially the first field artillery piece, and it delivered a lot of firepower in the form of a relatively short, very stout arrow, or I think they called it a bolt. And you cranked it up, and boom, released the trigger, and you delivered a lot of force to your target.
The Scorpion was the scourge of the ancient Roman battlefield, an overgrown monster of a crossbow. It was portable, powerful, and deadly from hundreds of yards. With these machines, the Romans dominated battlefields throughout their empire. And in 43 AD, they arrived at Maiden Castle in southern England, where it is widely believed the Romans destroyed the English settlement. The centuries-old defences were no match for the awesome power of massed Scorpion artillery.
If you look at this in profile, then it's got a huge thorax, tapering tail, and little scorpion stinging tails. So that's where it got its nickname. But basically, it's a catapulta. It's a type of bolt-projecting engine.
How many men would have been working this?
I think it's a two-man job. A bit more. Okay. Tell me when you're aimed.
Yeah. Similar to a modern-day socket wrench, the Roman Scorpion used a ratchet system to pull its bowstring back, click by click. Rather than flexible bow arms like a regular crossbow, the way our energy is stored here is in these 2 tightly twisted rope springs. And when the trigger was pulled, all of that energy released all at once. Pow! So to build a more powerful Scorpion, here's what I need to do. Build a better torsion spring.
That's the store of the potential energy.
That's the store of the potential energy. Clearly, this is the powerhouse of the beast. These skeins of rope, so it's working on torsion. They're torsion springs. Trigger mechanism, pretty straightforward. Once this is under tension, and all we do is slap that, and you've got a good clean release. This runner here is where we're going to put the bolt.
It's a guide rail. I love that sound.
One more, that'll do us. Okay.
Impressive. I mean, how would this have been deployed, you know, in the field of battle during a campaign?
Well, as well as being used at sieges like this, it was very much a battlefield weapon. Battlefield artillery. Let me show you how the Roman army works.
Hey!
Rattiest? Rattiest is the rattiest.
The key to Roman battlefield success is discipline, training, and holding formation. Second rank, advance. And when they're actually fighting, the Romans had a particular technique. They wouldn't engage the man opposite. They would kill the man on their right. So if something like this happened, I parry him, I kill him.
I'm actually quite impressed with this device. It was an awesome bit of power from medieval technology.
Every single Roman soldier is an independently trained fighting warrior. He is going to be able to work in loose formation. He can swing his shield. He may get his shield taken from him. He's going to be able to work whatever the situation is. Even if he's disarmed, he's still going to be trained in unarmed combat.
One-man machine.
Clear? Every legionary carried 2 of these. It's called the pillar. 10,000 men throwing 2 of those 20,000 suddenly in 10 seconds gone in the air.
I'm going to destroy the Earth. It blocks my view of Venus. I say, Mike, have you seen my plutonium space mode figure?
They had archers who were also decimating the enemy. Even before all of that, it was the artillery, the Roman scorpions, that led the attack. Chadius Radicalis, let's shoot this baby.
I love that sound.
One more, that'll do us. Okay. Good shot. Let's go and have a look at those.
Yeah.
Ratio. Close. Look at these. Look, this is unbelievable. Look how much they've come through. You're not going to pull those out.
That's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. This is a composite board. I mean, you've got 3 layers here and air in between. That should be slowing down all the time.
Plywood is pretty tough stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
These scorpion bolts pack a real punch. Stout, sharp, and actually quite heavy.
That's a smaller one, too.
That's a smaller one, that.
Of course, I'll need some bolts of my own to fire from my new machine. Looks like Mike has got this pretty well under control. So I'm off to see an old friend, a blacksmith, who can teach me to make these arrow points the old-fashioned way.
Coming.
One small problem. Herr G-Funk lives in Germany, which ain't in England. But hey, it's just a plane ride away.
I am in Germany, just to see my good friend G-Funk at his blacksmith shop. This can't possibly be the right place. I would have thought there would have been directions or people, you know. You, park here! This is obviously not the right place, so I'm gonna try and turn around.
What Gary's going to do for us is he's going to show us the techniques for making the arrowheads, the bolt heads that were used on the shafts of the Roman scorpion projectiles. And Gary Funk is a master craftsman, trained as a blacksmith in the old techniques. He seems to enjoy it very much, and so I will now spend the rest of the afternoon observing the creature in its natural habitat. I hope that I do not disturb it and that he doesn't seize me, and so that I can get a perfectly clear view of what it would have been like for a village blacksmith 100 million years ago. Okay, we will observe. Come on, ready, ready!
Building scorpion bolt heads the old-fashioned way is not the quickest thing in the world. And hey, time is money. And we don't have money.
That's working, look at that!
I'm here in Zernico with my good friend Garrett Funk, and we're knocking out arrow points for my new and hopefully improved Roman Scorpion. First, we'll flatten out, then roll the shank to form a socket to fit the shaft of the arrow.
He was giving me a hard time because I was not paying close enough attention to where he hit. Where he hits, I hit. Where he hits, I hit. And I have to strike in the exact same spot, or I get yelled at. Now,
What is that?
I'm sorry.
You clean it or not? What are you doing here? You we work today?
I'm sorry.
Tomorrow? What we do? Make your job.
We're gonna fit it out a little bit more. That's the part where I'm doing the hitting and he's doing the watching. Ah, no. He's doing the thinking and I'm doing the funking. I like that. Him think, him thunk. Think, thunk. Everything we were doing today is exactly identical to the way it was done 2,500 years ago. The only thing different is that I think we smell a little fresher. You okay?
I'm okay, I'm fine.
You need a little bassa?
Yeah, maybe yes.
Yeah? You want a chair to sit?
No! Now we finished it, we close it.
So
We make a circle.
you're gonna take it the rest of the way tight.
Exactly.
So we're gonna make that flat part into this round curve like this. And shoot! Yeah! Smaller hammer. Airflow. I just like to pressure him while he's working. He gets it quite very easy.
Now that the socket has been formed, it's time to start working on the business end. First, we'll cut it from the long bar, and then we'll begin to draw it out into a point.
Oh! Football's coming home. Goal!
Working quickly so as not to lose the heat, that nasty point begins to take shape.
It gives you so much energy, man. Thank you so much, sir. That's what they call it. When you put it in the fire, they call that the heat. And now, I'm gonna test fit it on my shaft. Here, you can clearly see how that would work. Gonna try out my new Scorpion bolt. But I'm gonna do it pirate style. One more time. Yeah! Pretty good stuff, man, huh? Schon.
Schön.
Danke. Dankeschön.
Schön.
That's what I say. I say Dankeschön.
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 Dankeschön. Let's go.
Dankeschön.
Ich sag Dankeschön.
Ah, Dankeschön.
Bitteschön.
G-Funk. Okay, we make a good job today.
All right, so my iron arrowheads are done. Now it's back to the shop in Washington, D.C. to start wrapping my head around the challenge of building a new and improved Roman Scorpion.
Just come back from England, Maiden Castle, where I, for the first time, saw a traditional, actual replica of a Roman Scorpion. Not being much of a carpenter, I don't think I'm gonna try and build it out of wood. I'm going for steel. Much more flexible material I'm familiar with. Time being of the essence, I've invited my good friend Tim.
Chad!
Tim, how are you?
Good.
Think we can do this thing?
Don't know.
We're gonna try.
It's an adventure.
Come on in.
All right.
So what I did here is I just kind of like tacked the thing all together with like little drops of glue to make sure everything was where I wanted it. Because no matter how careful you are with cutting, and it never fits. See, the bow arm's gonna be here-ish, right? The basic engineering advantage of steel over wood, it's not so much that steel is stronger, although in some respects it is, in some respects it's not as strong. In other words, you know, a piece of wood will flex a whole lot farther than a piece of steel and still come back. But the advantage of steel is that I can make a very rigid connection. If it's wood, that connection is always the weak point.
Keep welding.
Would you agree?
Keep welding.
Oh, well. Ouch. So we need some method of tensioning the skeins. So what we've come up with, we're gonna weld this on here, and we're gonna weld this pipe in here, and then these pipes are gonna be free to spin inside there. Tim's cutting a bar right now, which is gonna set in there like that. The ropes are gonna go up and over and up and over and up and over this bar. This bar is gonna stick out about 6 inches on either side, so I can take a pipe and stick it on the end and crank it around. And then we'll have to figure out how to drill some holes in here to put a stop pin, because as soon as I let go of that bar, it's gonna wanna go brrrr and unwind. A little grinding, a little welding, a couple of trips to the chiropractor, and the frame of my Scorpion is beginning to take shape. And now I've got to begin testing different skein materials. I think I need to fire my landscaper.
Hey there.
Hey, Mike. Soup's on?
Yeah, I thought you might appreciate a little snack after a hard day in the workshop.
What is it?
It's beef.
Beef?
It's beef. This is sinew. The Romans used to make the ropes for the Roman Scorpion. Spongy material in the middle. Yeah, but it's much less ew when you dry it. You get this.
Kind of looks like a corn husk.
So what you do is you pound this stuff, and you do that long enough, you get these amazingly strong. Feel how strong that is. You'll cut your hand before you break that. Or you could use it as floss.
Right.
Very clean teeth, the Romans. Here's a bit of sinew rope, but when they couldn't get sinew, they had this.
Looks like my shaving brush. No, it doesn't. I don't have one.
You don't have one.
If I had a shaving
If you
brush,
had a
this
sha-
is what it would
That's
look
what
like.
it would look like, absolutely. Horsehair, that's a horse's tail. Lay that into a rope, you get something like this. You could be a scorpion, couldn't you?
That's true. We
You got
kind of
two
got it going
skins
there.
there.
We could kind of flip.
And if they couldn't get horsehair, and they couldn't get sinew, then they use this, hemp.
It's pretty tough stuff.
Pretty tough stuff.
Cool.
So, can you improve on nature's wonders?
I know a guy. I did something with him once before, but he's probably just the man. Dr. Richard Colgren, University of Kansas. I suspect that he could get us some empirical data on this. Every university I've ever been to has got this huge, hideous, usually rusty, steel sculpture out in front of usually the art department. This one is in front of the engineering department. And when I pulled up, I thought it was, that sculpture that I always see. And then I looked at it. This is actually a case study in moment connections. This is actually somebody's thesis. Every one of these details represents a different way that you can make a connection when building steel buildings. It's really very cool, and I'm very impressed. It's a reference book. I like it. I'm here at Kansas University with aerospace engineer Dr. Richard Colgren and his lab director Wes Ellison. Together, we're going to attempt to determine which material will make the best rope for use as a torsion spring. People think of springs, they think of, rubber bands. Let's say I want to move Dr. Colgren. He's not moving very far, is he? No. So I'm using all this energy up, but yet it's not doing what I want to do, which is throw the doctor across the room. Now I take this one, and obviously, there's a significant difference in the amount of energy I'm able to transfer from my arm into the doctor's arm. So what I'm trying to do with the Scorpion is transfer potential energy I'm going to store up, energy from my arms or whatever, cranking that thing up into throwing that arrow across the battlefield. And I don't know.
What you want is to go and stretch on your rope as little as possible and store as much energy as possible, but allowing that rope to return back to its initial condition after you launch your arrow.
Yeah, because at some point when we pull on this, the stuff's gonna break. This is sinew, made from animal parts. We've got a loosely laid horsehair strand. This is hemp, made from hemp fibers, which I suspect is gonna do pretty well. We've got your standard double-braided nylon. Vectran, I have no idea what it does, but it was really expensive, so I bet it's good. And the same with the Spectra. All right, let's do this thing. I'm excited.
Right.
I want to break something.
So we'll go to 300 pounds.
We're testing each of these ropes under tension. 300, 600, and 900 pounds, and recording how much each material stretches and how much force it takes to reach catastrophic failure. All right, let's break this puppy.
It's gonna go.
All right.
I've been all day you've been here trying to break something. I haven't broken anything yet.
1106.
1106.
Finally. Now, the next sinew. All right, 300 pounds. I don't even think we're gonna get there. Can I get three? Can I get 300? 300. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. 300. Gone. 300. Okay, 10.431.
Okay, let's see if we can even make 600. Be ready
You
for it
want
to
to bet
start.
the beer that Wes already won from me on it? Oh! Got one
Right
pop. Hemp. In test after test, ropes made of modern synthetic materials held loads far greater than ropes made of natural fibers.
Here comes failure.
It's getting close.
And the horsehair?
Right there.
Well, it's just pathetic. Failure, 202.
Haha. You, horsehair, you are not a very good material for making Roman scorpions. You fail very quickly and you have a very low modulus of elasticity. So,
You think you make a good scorpion, but my modern synthetic materials and I will kill you. But first, we drink. Ha!
The horsehair rope snapped before we even reached the 300-pound mark. Same deal with the hemp. Now the sinew rope just barely hit the 300-pound mark, stretching almost 10 inches before finally breaking. Meanwhile, the synthetic materials held 900 pounds or more. So it seems pretty clear that the more tension a rope can withstand without permanently stretching means more energy stored and more energy delivered to my new reimagined Scorpion. Who won?
The artificial fibers did much better than the natural fibers. Again, you saw that the natural fibers stretched a lot more and broke at a much lower load.
Historical record says that they used sinew. And I think the reason for that is because these apparatuses were used outdoors, from the humidity and the rain and everything else, the hemp would absorb that moisture and actually change its modulus of elasticity.
And that would be another problem you have with the natural materials. They'd be much more sensitive to the climate, the humidity, etc.
And many of these synthetics they wouldn't know if they were in Antarctica or Africa.
They would be fine in the rain or the sun or any weather conditions.
That's really great. Thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate it. I had a great time today. Just come back from the University of Kansas with my new good friend, Dr. Richard Colgren, where we have conclusively determined that the organic materials are vastly inferior to modern materials. So the first one I'm going to try, nylon.
Armed with 100 feet of double braid nylon, Tim and I start the tedious process of threading it into the machine.
That is over tight.
Got the Scorpion all roped up and we're ready for the first test shot.
Made a mess of this, all right.
Good morning, Herr Audience. Today we are going to finish the prototype of the Scorpion. It's going to be a very massive, huge.
Alexander the Great would have been peeing in his pants if he had this.
Absolutely. It's made of steel. That's what makes it better. I made it. That's what makes it better.
The smell of victory.
The next order of business is to figure out a method of attaching my flingy bits to my flingy energy. The bow arms to the skeins.
The problem with the materials that the Romans were using is they was hemp and sinew, and, you know, when it rained, they stretched, and scorpions were very prone to having bad hair days.
More?
Okay. Well, we are about to figure out for the first time how we're actually going to cock this. Ah! Ah! My brand new number 3 Phillips.
Well, why'd you leave it right here? It's a perfect.
Why don't just get a punch? There's punches all over the
heady
place.
stick.
Here, there's a drawer right here. It clearly says punches and pry bars.
I wanted a brand new high.
I spent $17 on that
to do
screwdriver.
that task.
I haven't even gotten to use it yet. All right. So if this wasn't a Roman scorpion, no, it was just a regular old bow. You know, these right here would be that sort of curvy. I'll take that. The sort of curvy part, and this is obviously the string, and then there's your arm. Well, there's my arm in Tim's hand.
We have arrived at the stage where we are now going to attempt the first test firing. My trusty lab assistant, Herr Makepeace,
Ruprecht to you.
Ruprecht, is going to assist me in this most dangerous operation. Now, we're going to have to be very careful, because we are going to be developing tremendous amounts of force here. We could quite easily lose our fingers.
As Tim and I set up for our first test shot, Mike's off in the thicket supervising construction of a slightly more realistic target.
We're getting ready for the final showdown to test Chad's machine. Will he measure up to the Romans? Well, to find out, the guys are building me a replica of an Iron Age hill fort. What's a hill fort? Well, as the name would suggest, it's on a hill. It's usually on a hill because it has a commanding view of the surrounding countryside. You can see where the enemy's coming. And on top of the mound were these wooden palisades, these stockade fences. And behind them, they would have defended. They would have had spears and they would have thrown their spears. They would have had slingshot and they would have been throwing stones down at the enemy. It was impregnable to the technology they faced until 43 AD. And then they faced the Romans. The Romans came to Britain. They came to occupy and they came to conquer. They sent a legion under Vespasian. How did he do it? He used artillery. He used scorpions. Because scorpion bolts can punch through these stockades. Scorpions are accurate enough to pick off individual leaders. And scorpions can shoot incendiary bolts. Bolts like this, packed with flaming pitch that would jam into the palisade walls and set them ablaze. Which is probably exactly what happened at Maiden Castle in England. This is the sort of scheme that Maiden Castle is. It's concentric circles, but it's actually a maze. These are fortified with big, heavy iron gates. But even if you've got 5,000 men, you can't just take this by assault. These gaps between the mounds are very narrow. The men are strung out in single file. They can be sniped at from either side. At each little entrance in the maze is big wooden gates. So your big army is strung out thinly, victim to their spears and their stones. But if you've got long-range artillery, scorpions, which the Romans had, then it's a different story. What they needed to do is push the defenders back off this mound. It's now safe. They can come here. Push them off this mound, push them off this mound, and concentrate them all in the citadel. Then they can storm it. So what we need to find out, can Chad be accurate enough to punch into these palisades and set them ablaze? Can he range enough to get over the palisades and set these buildings alight? That's the test. Chadius Insanitas, bring it on.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we really are, I promise, getting close to our first scorpion test.
I want to sort of play with this thing before I get any significant tension on and get a feel for it. I'd put my leathers on just in case something snaps here. You know, one of these cables, you know, there's gonna be like razor sharp edges, cat o' nine tails, flinging through the air. So I figured maybe it'll look good, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So anyways, this is my come along here, which when we crank on this, that's what's gonna happen. Face shield?
I like that even better. There you go. I like that even better. Hey.
On up. Bring your own.
This little springy thing. Okay. Okay. Here.
Come on, I have room already. This is my dynamometer. All right, anyways. This is how you measure, this is how you weigh things which are heavy.
Want to go with these guys?
Let's just try this right quick, and if it does it, then great. If not, wait. What do you get?
It's flashing, so it's not happy at all.
Okay, well, then we can go back. I suspect the issue is an ambient light situation. Now it's ready to start.
Okay.
Okay, that's what that means.
There you go. That's the picture. That's the shot. That's the money shot, baby. There you
Sir
go.
Chad Whittington Smiley III here. I'm now going to attempt to measure the velocity of my projectile.
Well, get your trigger string.
In feet per second. I have no idea why I wish to know this data. It just seems that it might come in useful at some point in the future.
Right now there's an error message on the chrono.
It's, the aim looks good.
All right, rounds downrange, everybody.
Okay, positions.
Rounds downrange. We are such geeks. But I guess that's really the correct thing to be saying at this point. Rounds downrange. Not a very long range, but fire in a hole. 3, 2, 1. It's just not firing very straight. Error?
Yeah, didn't read.
It went that way this time. However, that was the most impressive launch we've gotten yet.
Had power.
Without a doubt. Let's throw an arrowhead on one of these things.
Okay.
And do that again. You know, it just looked to me like we got a whole lot more oomph out of that last one. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Sound a little more convinced it would be good.
Okay, looks good.
3, 2, 1. Now that's what I'm talking about.
That's heavy metal. You've made a mess of this, all right. You know, and considering this is like a half-pound projectile.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's a lot of what they call that energy at the target, I think.
Yeah, a lot of force. Well, this gives us a good benchmark to work against. We're going to do better than this. We're going to up the power here.
I am absolutely 100% perfectly convinced that these skeins are a nightmare. No wonder the Romans went extinct.
Well, you can see if you had something more natural like hemp, the slightest humidity change and...
I'm telling you that this nylon is wrong.
Everybody clear?
Fire in a hole. All right, 2, 6.
Yeah. Sweet, fancy Moses. Not bad. That's armor piercing.
More, I want more. You know, actually I was pretty impressed that we actually got, you know, the first 2 test fires. Nothing broke, and the thing came out the end like it was supposed to, and stuck in a target like it was supposed to. So I think I am losing energy into stretching rope, as opposed to using that same amount of energy to, you know, fling my arrow. You know, when I had this thing cranked back, you know, it just felt a little, you know, kind of like a Chevette. You know, you push the pedal and nothing happens. And then a little while later, it kind of catches up. Right, so I took a couple minutes and I mocked up this frame assembly here. Whoop. So this little bit right here, these are gonna be a bunch of very thin, flat springs. A lot of rulers are actually made out of spring steel. And I'm gonna stack a bunch of them up. They're gonna be right here like this. Cool.
I had a sneaky suspicion that even synthetic ropes weren't gonna make the cut. And for a while now, I've been thinking about a way to replace them with steel springs.
So the idea here is somehow we're going to stack them up like that. We're going to put a bow arm of some sort. We're going to rotate it. And magically, this is all going to work, but I have my doubts.
So what I'm doing right now is machining this slot right there like that. Then I'm gonna come in with a couple set screws from the side to rigidly clamp them in there. I think it's gonna be actually fairly impressive.
All right, it took a while, but I finally got the laminated springs built up, and we're ready for the first test.
That's perfect. We can do like in the carnival, you know? You can like, you're facing here. It'd be great. I love it.
Ooh, look at that spring go. Okay.
Nope. Where's the shear plane on this?
There we go.
There's a weld snapping. All right, let's try this thing. I don't like it. It's pre-tension. This is not in the middle here. We're all gonna die. Keep my fingers out. Fire in the hole.
Now we got trouble.
What happened?
It didn't break, it just pulled out.
No, I'm not happy with it. I hate it. It's a definite failure at the moment.
Now, this one broke. Look, the spring broke. 4 springs broke.
Failure! But in the face of hardship, I shall persevere.
I should have known it wasn't going to take a weld. You know, we would have had to harden them and then temper them back into springs, which is something that requires a certain amount of experience and finesse, of which I don't possess. I have some experience and I have some finesse, but the two are rarely in the same room at the same time. So R&S Springworks, where I'm at right now, these guys do truck springs, big heavy trucks, big heavy springs. And I'm hoping these fellas are gonna have a flat spring.
Hey, Stuart. Chad, we spoke on the phone.
Yes.
So I told you a little bit about it, but I'm building this crazy machine. It's a replica of something they call the Roman Scorpion, which is kind of like a crossbow. Okay. Well, my idea is I want to use like a steel spring of some kind. Can you show me what you got? This looks... Oh, yeah. That'll be perfect. So I think I'll do 4 of these.
Okay.
That is awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Pay your man at the counter. Running out of time here. Starting to get sloppy. Getting down to the wire. Yet another new spring system. Bunches of hours digging through my piles of junk looking for a very different trigger.
Now this clutch system for the trigger is brilliant. This is Chad's invention. Never before used in the history of man, an air clutch to trigger a Scorpion crossbow. Truly brilliant.
Nylon didn't work. Kept stretching forever. Laminated steel springs wasn't effective. Couldn't grip them, they were slipping and sliding. They were awful. What I have here is some much beefier leaf springs out of an automobile. No more pins, no more pre-tensioning by turning it. We got some cheap little roller bearings. Bow arms were not able to swing back fast enough. We made much longer bow arms. These are almost 50% longer. Okay, the air clutch. The air clutch is awesome. I really like the air clutch. When I put air pressure on, which is being supplied by a bottle of CO2, just like you'd use in a bar for getting your sodas out of that little gun, bam! This clutch engages and it rigidly, permanently, forever, until you release the air, locks with these little gears here. They mesh, these little teeth. As soon as you release the air, bam! Arrow goes flying, enemy's dead, boom, bang, done, next, out of here. Boom, bang, done, next, out of here. All right, let's load it up for the real-world test. You know, you got Pimp My Ride and you got Pimp My Scorpion. And, well, here it is. I hope you like it. Let's take it out and put it to the test. She's working now! Good morning! Hey!
Good to see you.
Mike, how are you?
I'm good.
I think I'd rather have your horse than mine. It wasn't really quite making it up the hill there.
Those would be a problem.
Yes, indeed, they would. Yep. Like any good field marshal, I have anticipated the location of my opponent.
And not that well, because you're pointing the wrong way.
No problem.
So, clearly, as I thought you would, you have changed the torsion springs from sinew or rope to steel, special steel?
These are leaf springs from an automobile. Roller bearings. Takes care of all the friction.
Chadius horribilis
Chadius horribilis.
Flammifus scorpius o mortiferum. Chad the horribles.
Chad's harmful flaming scorpion
of
which
death.
throws the iron of death. Let me hook it up.
Not willing to take my word for it, and I can't say as I blame him, Mike has set up a few tests. First, accuracy.
Fine, aim real quick.
Yeah, 'cause we've got a target over there, so let's see how accurate this is.
Yeah, let's see.
Not bad.
I think that thing went through the target.
Right through a thin man.
So, you think your hemp skeins are pretty good, but they are no match for my automobile leaf springs.
So, how far is it going to go?
I'm going to tell you that I'm going to get within 100 yards of the tree line.
Okay, which would be at least 300 yards.
I'm guessing 4 or 5.
It should be, because the traditional one was getting about 4.
I've got a trundle wheel with me. They were getting 400 yards?
I think so, yeah.
What was a yard back then?
Same as us.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now I want to see how quickly I can change from an accurate shot to a distant shot.
But you're not going to get optimum elevation with this. I mean, it's not going to go beyond 10 degrees.
If you'd be so kind, sir, grab those 2 chunks of wood.
This shot's for distance, so I'm tilting it up. And I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to do that.
They are stiff.
Yes, they are. The distance shot. Let's see, I think I need to also elevate myself there. Get every little bit I can get. Does that look about parallel? All right, fire in the hole, rounds downrange.
Whoa.
That's pretty good. I don't think it was 450.
I verify that's set at 0. Let's go. I have to compliment you on your outfit. It's sartorially elegant and a sort of gesture to Roman world.
It was my best effort with the togs I had in the shop. I'm just coming up on 480 feet. 300 feet is 100 yards, so I think I'm well shy of my estimate.
Well, I think you've made tremendous improvements. I think it's great. The air clutch is brilliant.
That's the part I'm happiest with.
The leaf springs are good. The roller bearings are good. I just don't think it's mobile enough. And I think the pan and tilt is too laborious.
I share your opinion, sir, which is why I have for you a surprise.
As Mike gallops off into the sunset to rally his troops, I will unleash my cunning plan to solve my maneuverability problems.
Raise the boom! And up! Forward march! No, the other march. The one with the machine marches. Come on, we gotta get this right when we get over there. We'll look like fools.
Here we go. Forward, ho!
This is wonderful! It's absolutely amazing!
Thank you!
A bit more mobile too. It's good. It's excellent. I really like
Plus,
it.
I can see the entire battlefield.
You can. And can you see the target?
I can. And hold. Bring it on.
Oh, that's very smooth. How are you going to sight this? You're just going to guess the elevation?
Well, we're pretty good, actually. We test fired it enough on the ground. I think we're going to get it first shot here. All right, bring her on.
That's fantastic. You wouldn't want to be the enemy and see that coming over the hill.
I'm going to try that.
Shoot it then.
I just want to sort of savor the moment
Enjoying the image.
before they're doomed. Fire the hole. Ha!
Very nearly. You're about 4 feet short. You've got to be able to crack that. I reckon that's going to do it.
Fire in the hole. Round down range.
Ha! Yes! A hit! I heard it! It splintered right through the wood! But is that the best you can do?
I think I've got a little something else up my sleevey. Yep, we're good.
That was pretty impressive.
Thank you.
But you know, why don't you try this? The Romans used these incendiary arrows.
Yeah?
And what we need to do is burn that thing down.
You want me to burn it down?
I do, but I don't want you to stick it to the palisade this time, because that's just... See that pile of hay?
I do.
That's representing all the houses inside the hill fort.
All right.
You think you could get that in there?
Want me to give it a try?
Shall we do it?
Yes, please.
So, there you go.
Oh, hello. All that? I think our round's cooked in enough. Fire in a hole. Quite literally. Oh!
It's a hit!
Oh!
It's smouldering! It's gone really deep in there and it's smouldering! Yeah! Success! That is a success.
Thank you.
Very good.
Should we offer up a token to the gods?
What that? But it's beautiful.
Well, I mean, I've got to thank somebody for my success.
Your choice. Mission accomplished.
What's next?